Okay, guys, another title Tuesday that I couldn't play Nakamura, but I got to play this almost 2700 player, and he went exactly into our opening trap, guys. Those of you who have been following this course, on lesson 73, we learned how to play against the Austrian attack. So Pirc's defense, c5 is the recommendation that we talked about, and to my surprise, my opponent did d takes c5. By the way, this is the same move that Levon Aronian played against me in that picture that I showed you. I have to show you the entire game, but anyhow, here, guys, I'm going to, in a moment, just pause the video to show you the trap that we are talking about. Now, let me just wait for you to see, okay, bishop e3, queen b4, and now my opponent simply castled queen side. And we know automatically this is winning for the black pieces. Now, he took a moment, and now, guys, let me show you the trap that we're talking about. So basically, we talked about, again, Pirc's defense. Many people go for this very aggressive Austrian attack. And then after c5, pawn takes, we go queen a5, bishop d3, because remember that we are hitting e4, the knight is pinned. But after we retake, if they want to castle, they need queen e2, bishop e3. Now, if you paid attention to the game, my opponent did bishop d2 first, so he had to spend another move with the same bishop. But the main line is actually queen e2, castle, bishop e3, and now queen b4. And here, the right move is to just castle, right? Ignore the pawn. But if they do rook b1 or castling queen side, we got knight e4. And of course, taking with the knight, this is already check, followed by checkmate in a couple moves. If they take with the bishop, we eliminate the knight, threatening mate, and then we get the bishop. Now, in the actual game, you're going to see that my opponent, and by the way, guys, castling is the move, and then if we take, this could get tricky because they have knight b5. In the actual game, they actually spent a few moves, and they allowed me to even do a6, knight c6. So this move is even better in that situation. So going back to the game, after my opponent castled queen side, of course, I take on e4, and now this is winning. Guys, with that said, this trap, I like it so much at this point because even when I got other people into it, some people managed to escape and they actually destroyed me afterwards. So not only do I know the trap, but I have plenty of experience converting this advantage into a win, right? So here my opponent is taking his time again. This is a 2700. So typically they do one of two things. Either they try to attack my king with everything they've got, or they simply try to play for a draw. Now here we take on e4, and my opponent quickly does queen d3. So he's thinking, let's simplify the game, but I have chances of a draw. Also, if you help me undouble my pawns, even better. So I said, forget about that for now. I know that we have talked a lot about if you're winning, simplify the game. But here, I felt like I had chances to attack his king. So now I could get the pawn on a2, and I'm trying to not be greedy, or I could try to find ways to get active and attack. So I liked the idea of bishop e6, knight a5, but I finally decided to just do queen a3. So just asking what you're going to do. If king b1, well, my bishop goes to a6. If king d2, at least that king is going to be in the center. So now, guys, all that I need to do is be careful with their attack on the king side. I don't want to get checkmated. And of course, if I could simplify the game, even better. So there we go here. After so many lessons that we've talked about this, it should be a no-brainer to simplify the game. But I still was hesitating because even if I trade knights, we're going to be left with opposite color bishops. And we know this kind of endgame could be drawish. So don't forget, trading pieces is not for the sake of trading pieces. We got to pay attention to what's left on the board. So here, I considered queen g2 check or queen a5. Again, I need to be very, very careful, guys. And thanks to the fact that the king is in the center, I was not so concerned about my own king. So queen a5, getting away from the attack with a check. And now I think I just decided to trade knights. I don't want any trouble. There we go. And of course, it comes with e5. Very, very nice because it comes with a tempo. Now, guys, very important. We gotta stay away from any tricks. Okay. So queen c5. Now, if they take on d6, I take the pawn on c4 with a check. And again, their king in the center. There we go. Now the d file is open. Again, they want to simplify the game, and I'm thinking I'm going to wait a little bit longer. That king in the center, it was just too important for me to just get rid of the queens. Okay, so that king in the center is not going to be safe unless queens are traded. So now I'm ready to do bishop e6. They cannot take on e5 because I always have rook e8. There we go. Now bishop e6, guys, I almost did it and it turned out to be the right move, but I just didn't. I wanted to be safe, right? So now no counterplay for my opponent. One thing that we have talked over and over and over is that if we're winning, don't give your opponent any edge. My opponent has nothing to lose. He's already in trouble, right? So any complications, you're going to welcome it. So there we go. Now bishop e6. Now I don't want to take on d6. Instead, I'm just keeping it cool. No counterplay at all. And of course, I'm hitting c5. So now a5, trying to deflect or kick that defender away. There you go, guys. Full simplification. We're already winning by a couple pawns. So yes, opposite color bishops, but a couple pawns should be significant advantage. And I do not remember a lot about opposite color bishops, but I know that if we have two pawns separated by two or more files, it should be a win. I think I remember that from those lessons. So now I'm just trying to keep it cool. I knew rook d1 was probably coming to pin my bishop. Again, my opponent is looking for little tricks, okay? So I knew if rook d1, I knew I was going to do rook d7, getting ready to remove my bishop and defend the rook at the same time. That's it. Just keeping it cool. I have fallen for this for this kind of tactics too many times, you see? So I had to make sure to have this move. And now, guys, the rest should be easy. We gotta be careful, of course, but for the most part, I want to capitalize on my past pawns. Activate the king. This is an endgame, but at the same time, I need to look at my past pawns. Now, f5, if they take on e5, I take on g4, I get a couple connected past pawns. And the same thing with this variation. That's it. Now, my opponent has nothing. The c pawns are not going to go anywhere. And now they have to be concerned about my a pawn, which is a pass pawn, and also my h and g. So I'm just double checking. Don't forget, this is Title Tuesday. We play with 3 minutes, but you get an increment of a second every move, okay? There you go, guys. Activating the king. There you go. Pass pawns are meant to be pushed, and there's no way they can defend. They can control every single pawn. Also, remember, the further we push the pawns, the harder they are to defend. So we have to remember that. There we go. Bishop is defending it. And now the easiest way to win this is bringing your king to help those pawns on the king side. There we go. Now pass pawn. And look, I could have even given that pawn on c6 for free, but I don't want to give him anything. Unless I really have to, I don't want to give him any chances. And now, guys, here, my opponent should have resigned, but it's hard to let go. He's playing a way lower rated opponent, so they're going to try to keep playing until the end. And now I'm keeping it safe. Keeping in mind, no stalemates, so I'm keeping an eye out for those stalemates, trying to keep it simple. And look, here I'm just getting a second queen, like back to the basics. And there's no risk of stalemate this way. That's it. And checkmate on the next move. So there you go, guys. We got a good game mainly because our opponent didn't know this line and he gave us that quick opening trap. I know it feels really good, even though I don't like opening traps, but this one is just something that we had prepared in the main line, right? So if you look at the analysis, everything is under control except by, look, a6, knight c6, they're nice, but they were not that accurate. Bishop e3, castling their blunders, and knight e4 is a brilliant move that we had prepared from home, right? Lesson 73, guys, we had talked about it. Now, queen a2, I just wanted to get the point just in case, but it seems like knight a5, bishop e6 were more energetic, more accurate. Okay, this is good. e5, all of this makes sense. Then bishop e6 seems to be a better move. There we go. Now, bishop e6, look, bishop e6, I almost did it if you remember. And when I check with the engine, it seems that we shouldn't be concerned about that move because then we simply go bishop g4 check followed by rook e8. So you see, guys, your pieces are active, tactics are going to be in the air. So bishop e6, rook c8, a5, simplification, and there you go. We knew this move is important because if not, the little tactic gets to us. So bishop c6, and guys, the remaining of the game, you saw it, pretty straightforward. We don't need any special technique or anything like that. So with that said, I hope that you liked this video, and I will see you in our next lesson.